Good morning, everyone, and welcome today for the webinar for Solid Edge Drafting. My name is Pratik Korgaonkar, and I'm an application engineer for Prolim. So for today's agenda, we will start with creating some drawings in Solid Edge. Then we'll take a look at what exactly is quicksheet templates and how you can utilize that in Solid Edge. Later on, we'll take a look at some of the different ways in which you can place the auxiliary views, principal views, detail views, section views, and broken out section views. Then how you can create dimensions and annotations inside Solid Edge, and some of the drafting enhancements that were introduced in some of the recent versions. So let's start with some of the enhancements that were introduced in the recent version of Solid Edge. So firstly, we have the option to format values in the whole table. So now when you place a whole table in draft, you can now manually control each one of the options, each one of the cells, and then change the accuracy round-offs for individual holes. So for example, as you can see in the screenshot, we have a table in the edit mode, and once you do a right click, you can simply go to the option that says format values and change the accuracy for that specific cell. Something similar can be achieved from the whole callout with the person f1 property string, and that can be edited easily too. Next, we have the option to add the user profile fields in the property text. In order to do that, first you need to have a user profile created in your Solid Edge. Once you have created a user profile in the Solid Edge options, you can simply go to the parts list, as you can see from the screenshot, and if you scroll down in the column, you'll see these 6 properties which says user profile initials that can be created by or modified by. Then we have user profile mailing address, created by, modified by, and then you have user profile names, created by and modified by. These user profile information can be added not only to parts list but also to the PMI model views, callouts, text boxes, as you can see from some of the screenshots attached here. Next, we have an option to open the parts from the parts list row. So now inside the family of assemblies parts list, as well as the normal parts list, once you are in the table edit mode, you can simply right click on a row, and as you can see from the screenshot here, open any specific part, sheet metal or sub in a new window. Now we have the option to use option of apply button for dimension properties. In the previous version, you had to first change the dimension property and hit OK to view all the changes. But now with the apply button, you can simply apply and see all the changes in the active window while your dimension properties window is open, so that if you want to make any change, you can simply go back and do the same again. This specific feature is available for parts, sheet metal, draft, and assembly environments. Now with the newer version of Solid Edge, you can expand the multi-core processing to get the derived drawing view results. So in the Solid Edge options, we have this new option that says enable multi-core drawing view processing, that helps the users to update the large size drawings that contain principal views as well as the derived drawing views faster. And so some of the stats, as you can see in the first screenshot attached here, with the auxiliary views, the percentage time savings have been increased from 5 to 8, and with the section views, it's been a drastic improvement from 5% to 34%. So here I have a draft file open in Solid Edge, and before we start creating drawings in Solid Edge, let's take a look at how you can set up a sheet in Solid Edge. In order to do that, you simply have to come to the sheet 1 right here and right click on sheet 1 and say sheet setup. So these are some of the options that you have when you come to sheet setup. You can decide what standard do you want, what type of sheet do you want, if you want a tall sheet or a wide sheet, and any specific dimensions that you're looking for. You can also scale your sheet from these values, or any specific scale can be entered in the scale value box. In the second tab, we have the option to change the sheet name, and the third tab is where you decide what kind of sheet do you want. We have our A1 sheet, A2 sheet, A3, A4 sheet. One other way of accessing the sheet setup is when you come to the Files tab. Under Settings, you have this option called as Sheet Setup. This again is going to give you access to similar environments that we just saw. Here we have size, any specific size that you're looking for, name and background. So these are two different ways in which you can access the sheet setup. When you come to Solid Edge options, we have an option to change the dimension style, the drawing view style, and the drafting standards from Solid Edge options. So to change the dimension style, you'll come to the dimension style tab here and change any specific dimension type or style that you're looking for. So currently I have an ISO standard. You can always change that to ANSI inch, ANSI mm, ANSI feet, and so on. And similarly, we have the drawing view standard. Now under drawing standards, you can decide what kind of projection angle you're looking for. If you want like a first angle view or a third angle view. When you're trying to cut a hardware in section views, do you want the actual hardware to cut or remain uncut? So all these things can be controlled from here. Now to place a drawing view in Solid Edge Draft, you'll come to the view wizard right here, and this view wizard will point to a specific part file or an assembly file that you're looking to place. In this case, I'm looking to place a part file. This anchor part is what I want to place. So once you hit open, attached to your cursor is one of the views. So this view can be changed by going to the view orientation, from where I can select any view I want from front to back. So the back view is attached now. Next, again, if you want to change the view, you can change that to right view. So for now, I'll just default it back to the front view the way it came in, and place a view. And once you place a view, as you move your cursor to the side, Solid Edge gives you an option to place the right view and the top view just like this. So this is how you can place different views inside Solid Edge. Now to save some more time, or you can say some more clicks while placing these views, what you can do is you can go to an option that is called as the drawing view layout. So I'll go back to the view wizard here, select my part, that's the anchor part here. From here, before I place a view, I'll go to the drawing view layout, right, and select my primary view. So I want the front view as my primary view, and also I want to see the right and the top view. So these two are selected. And now, as you can see, attached to the cursor, I not only have my front view, but also I have my right view and top view along with my front view, right? And you can simply place it here. So you can save some more time and few more clicks in placing these views by going to the drawing view layout. Now I would like to place an isometric view for this specific part file. So I'll go back to the view wizard right here and use the same part. Now, so there are two ways I can place an isometric view. One way is to go to the view orientation and select an isometric view from here, right? Or I can go to the drawing view layout and select this option called as custom. So when I select custom, I get this a custom orientation window from where I can select the specific orientation I want. In this case, I want to place an isometric view. I want this to be a perspective and change some angles here, I want it to be wide, right? And simply you can place it here. Now to change the scale, I can go back to the scale option here, use 1:1 scale, and place my view right here. In order to change any specific view from wireframe to, let's say for example, shaded with edges, you can simply select the view and go to the option here that says shading options, and from here you can say, let's say for example in this case I want to do like a gray shaded with edges. And once you do that, you'll see this black box, which means that this view is out of date. So you'll have to go back here and say update views. And this is how you can place an isometric shaded view in Solid Edge Draft. So this is how you can place some of the basic views in Solid Edge. Now some additional views that we can place is, let's say for example here I want to place an auxiliary view. So I go to this option that says auxiliary and select the axis, or in this case I want to select the fold line. So I want this edge to be my fold line, and it creates an auxiliary view just like this. Now in this case what's happening is my views are too cluttered and I don't want like this view exactly in this sheet. So in order to move a specific view from a sheet, you need to have at least 2 different sheets, right? And let's say for example now I want to move this the specific view to a different sheet. You can simply go on the view, inside properties, you can select the placement sheet. So in this case, as you can see, my view is placed on sheet 1. Once I select sheet 2 and apply, the view from here disappears and it goes back to sheet 2 as we selected in the properties. So if your sheets are too cluttered with all the different views, you can segregate different views like auxiliary view, or let's say for example a detailed view, a section view, or a broken out view on a separate sheet, right? So let's take a look at how you can create a section view. So first things first, in order to create a section view, you would first need a cutting plane. In this case, I'll go and make a cutting plane first. So the process to create a cutting plane is you'll have to first select the view on which you want to place the cutting plane. In this case, it's going to be my top view. And once I select the top view, you'll see that I am in the sketching environment in which I can create my section plane. So let's say for example I want to make something like this. This is how I want to place my cutting plane. I'll exit out and decide the perspective view from what is going to be my viewing direction or orientation, right? And once I have my cutting plane ready, I can go into section view, select the section and just place it right here. And now if you want to move this to sheet 2, you can simply go to the properties here, and from the drop down on which sheet to be placed, you can select sheet 2, hit apply and save. Let's slightly change the location of these views so that it's not placed on top of each other. So I have my section view right here, I have my auxiliary view right here. Similarly, you can create a detail view. So select the detail view, and now let's say for example if I want a circular cross section. So by default, Solid Edge is selected to a circular cross section. How much do you want to scale? So here I have scaled it 2 times. You can change that to 3 times scaling. You can also create your own profile if you don't want a circular, or you want like a specific shape of the profile for detailed view. You can define the profile view from this option right here. In this case, I'm just going to be using a circular view, so I'll just place my circle right here, and this is going to be my detailed view. Again, I'll do the same thing. I'll go right click, and just move my detailed view to sheet 2. So this is how in Solid Edge you can place some of the additional views like auxiliary view, detailed view, and section view very quickly and easily. And this process can be very easy when it comes to Solid Edge because the way the software is optimized. So here I have an assembly file, and I have added some exploded view for this specific assembly using the ERA option or the ERA environment in Solid Edge. So if you come to the configuration drop down, you have your explode view, and this is what my exploded view looks like, right? So now to open this exploded view in the draft file, you can simply go to file and say create drawing of the active model. And when you select that, this option shows up. Here I'm just going to say run the drawing view wizard, right? And once I do that, I'll have my view attached to my cursor. So before I place this view, the way that you can show an exploded view in the draft environment is by coming to the drawing view wizard option here, and in this drop down here you can select the explode option and hit OK, and this creates an exploded view of that specific assembly. And this is how you can place an exploded view in Solid Edge. Also, you have the option to add section views inside the draft environment itself. So I'll go back to the view wizard, and this time I'll be using a top view. So I'll go to the view orientation and select the top view right here like this. To add a section view, as we have seen already, we would first need a cutting plane. So I'll go to the cutting plane, select this view right here in order to place that cutting plane, and I'll create a cutting plane just like this. The next step is to decide the view orientation, and now I'll go to section view and place the section view. Now let's say, for example, if you're trying to hide a specific part in a section view, in this case, let's say you're trying to hide the center bolt here. So that can be easily achieved by simply going to the properties. So once you go to the properties here, in the display tab, you can select which specific part do you want to hide. So in this case, let's say I want to hide the mounting pin. I'll simply uncheck the box which says show, and also I'll hide this side plate part 2. And now again you'll see this black box, which means your views are out of date. So once you update your views, you'll see that the specific parts that you want to hide in a section view can be hidden using the display tab inside the properties. So Solid Edge also allows you to create a broken view for long pipes. So let me just open a part file for that. So here I have this really long bar, and when I place this bar right here, let's say for example, if you have such long bars, and if you want to place a broken view in between these bars here, you can simply do that by selecting the view, and here you have this option called as broken. So the way you place this is, since this is a horizontal bar, I'll use a vertical break for the horizontal bars. So I'll place my first breakpoint right here and the second breakpoint, which is going to be right here. So it creates that kink right here, and once you hit finish, you can see that that bar has been broken with these two vertical lines, or you can call them as vertical breaks. If say for example, if you don't want straight lines and if you want some other pattern in between for those specific break lines, that can be achieved as well. So I'll go back to the view wizard. I'll bring this specific bar again, right? And now when I place the broken view, I have the option to select the vertical break lines. So the break line type can be selected from here, this option. So let's take a look at some of the examples here. So the straight break line, which we have already seen, looks something like this. If you want to change the break line to next, you can simply select, say in this case I want a cylindrical break line, so I can select that right here. Looks something like this. Then we have short break linear, and then we have short break curved, and then finally we have long break. You always have the option to change the break gap from here, and once you hit finish, this is what your break lines look like. So these are different break line types that Solid Edge has to offer. So now let's take a look at how we can add the broken out section views in Solid Edge. So for that, I'll just quickly place some views of a sample file. So here I have a crankcase, and I'll place the front view, the side view, the top view, and also I'm going to place an isometric view for the specific crankcase. So going back to the view wizard, and in the view orientation I'll select isometric, and since we'll be placing a broken out section view on this specific isometric view, I'll just convert this to shade it with colors. So this is what I have right now. So now in order to place the broken out section view, you'll come to this option right here that says broken out. So the first step is going to be the source view step. So this is going to be my source view step, and then I'll be in the sketching environment where I'll select the section that I want to break. So in this case, I'll just select something like this. And now based on the depth, now how much depth do I want? So I want, let's say for example, somewhere up to here. This is how deep I want my broken out section view to be to go, and then I'll select the target step on which this broken out section view is going to be placed. So as you can see here, I have my broken out section view placed on this specific isometric view. So this is how you can place a broken out section view in Solid Edge. Okay, so now let's say for example, if you want to change the depth of the profile, so for that what you'll have to do is go back to this first view. In the properties, you'll have to go and select the option that says show broken out section view. So in the general tab, you have this option called as show broken out section view profile. So once you do that, this option pops up. Now by selecting that specific profile, you get the edit definition options where you can either modify the profile or modify the depth. So in this case, I just want to keep the same profile and I can go to modify the depth. Right now the depth is 50.8. Say if you want to enhance or remove or reduce the depth, let's do 80 here and hit accept. Now again, this view is out of date, so I'll have to go and update my views, and this is what my new depth looks like. So this is how you can also edit the already placed broken out section views. Next, we'll take a look at some of the quick sheet templates. So for that, let me open a new draft file. So in this draft file, so what exactly is quick sheet template? So quick sheet template is going to basically help you place all your views with just a single step. So the way this quick sheet templates all these quick sheet templates work is you first place all the views. Let's say, for example, I'll go to the view wizard, and in this case I'll go to the specific file that I want. So all my files are saved in the training folder. So I'll use this part that says block part 1. Now first I want to place my right view, so I'll go to the view orientation, change it to right view. And this is going to be my side view, top view, and the bottom view. Also, what I want to do is I want to place a section view between my right side and my side view. So in order to do that, I would need a cutting plane first. And once I have my cutting plane ready, I can select the section view. So here I have placed 5 different views in the specific draft template. Now when I am saying I want to do a quick sheet template, so I'm basically going to save this as my basic template so that next time when I bring in a new part, it will populate all these views. So the process to save this as a quick sheet template is you go to files, go to settings, and say create quick sheet template. So I'll just go in my downloads and just save this. For example, I'll say test quick sheet. Right. So now what I'll do is I'll go back, browse to the specific folder, and open my new quick sheet template that I just made. So this is the quick sheet template that I have. Now each time when I bring in a part from my library, the software will automatically detect all the views and will populate the draft file. So in this case, let's say for example I want to bring the specific file, and once you drag and drop, you'll see that all the views are highlighted in yellow, which means they are ready to be placed. And once I release my cursor, the views are populated right there. So this is going to be a great tool for you to save time, and if you have like similar section views or say view placement for small parts like these, you can use quick sheet template to save all that time. So now we'll just take a look at some of the ways that you can place dimensions in Solid Edge. So first thing is, say for example, if you have had the dimensions placed in a part file, and you do not want to place all those dimensions again because that's some added work right there. So inside Solid Edge, what you have an option is called as the retrieve dimension. So the way this works is you first select the view from which you want to retrieve all the dimensions, and then Solid Edge will extract all the dimensions as you can see here. all the dimensions have been extracted from the part file. These dimensions that have been extracted can be removed at any moment. So let's say, for example, if I don't want to see this 1.5, I can simply hit delete on the keyboard and remove all the dimensions that I don't want. So the retrieve dimension is going to be of great help because it saves you a lot of time to place all these dimensions one by one. Next, we'll take a look at the option to create center mark. So let's say, for example, we have a couple of ways in which you can create this. So first, let's take a look at by 2 points. So by 2 points, you'll select the base circle and then the circle on which you want to place the center mark, and you'll see that the center mark has been placed right here. So this is one way of placing the center mark. The other way would be placing using the horizontal vertical. So all you do is simply select this circle, and it based upon the horizontal and vertical axis, it places a center mark exactly at the center right here. So we have horizontal and by 2 points. So these are the two ways in which you can place the center mark. And a really beneficial way this center marks can be used is, let's say, for example, if you want to place an angle, right, the exact angle or the location of the center mark. Let's say, for example, if we use an angle between command, you can simply select the center mark and the software will detect that and place an angle right there. If you select the next center mark, it continues and creates that center mark from the previous center mark to the next one, and you can place that angle right there. So let's take a look at some of the more options to place dimensions. Let's say, for example, if you want to place a distance between, right? So you simply select the two lines in between which you want to place the dimension. And before I place a dimension, an option that you have here is to place a prefix, right? So if I go to the prefix here, I can select exactly what I want. So here I have these 8 fins, so I'll say 8 times on my prefix and then hit apply. So once you do that, you'll see here you get this 8 times 3 as the dimension placed here, right? Let's say one other example to place a dimension. If you want to place a diameter for this specific hole right here, so you can do that in the smart dimensions. So let's say, for example, if you go to smart dimensions and select this value, so now I'll go back to prefix, I'll remove the one that I placed previously, and from the special characters I'll just use this prefix that says diameter and hit OK. So that places a diameter symbol before the value. So here we have some holes. Let's take a look at how we can place them using the dimension option. So I'll go back to the smart dimension, use this circle, and now before I place a dimension, what I'll do is I'll go back to prefix, and as you know, in this case I have 4 different holes. So in the prefix I'll say 4 times, the same way we did for fins, and in the suffix what we'll do is we'll define the type of hole here. So here what exactly I have is a counterbore hole with a diameter of 14 and a depth of 5. So you can add all these values, and once you hit apply, that gets added right here. So this is more of a manual way of doing it. One other automated way, so that you don't have to type or know exactly what type of hole it is, you can simply use this option called as feature callout, and inside feature callout you can simply select the feature callout option that says %HC and just select the hole on which you want to place the dimension. So the software retrieves the information from the part file, the specific hole type that you have placed, and places the specific dimension right here. Let's say, for example, here on this one, if you have some unit tolerances or some dual units that you want to add, that can be easily achieved. Let's say, for example, on this 90 mm diameter, if you select that, you can come to this drop down and say add the unit tolerance, and once you do that, the tolerance group gets activated, so you can expand that and add the values. So in this case, I want a tolerance of 0.03 positive and 0.03 negative. So you see here, it just gets added right here. And now let's say if you want to place a dual unit, you can simply right click on this dimension and go to properties. So inside properties, you have this option called as secondary units, and you can turn that on. So once you turn this on, you can specify which dual unit you want to include. So right now I have mm, so I'll include inches as my dual unit. And how do I want this to be displayed? I want this to be displayed in the form of a bracket, and you see the value gets added right here. So this is how you can place the tolerances and dual units inside Solid Edge. Now we'll take a look at all the enhancements that were added in Solid Edge. So firstly, we have an enhancement where you can add the family of assemblies parts list. To add that, you'll go to the parts list drop down and say family of assemblies parts list. Select the view, which is the family of assemblies, and go to properties. So now inside properties, you have this member selection tab, from where you can select the specific member which you want to add, or simply do a select all. In this case, we have 4 different members, right? And when you go to columns here, so inside columns, all the quantities for those members get added by default. One other way of adding the quantities of each of those members is when you scroll down to the bottom here, you have the quantity of the default assembly and all its members too. So hit OK, exit out, and place a parts list, something like this. So this is what the family of assemblies parts list look like. You can always double tap and select the specific columns and rows that you want to change the alignment for. So in this case, I would like to change the horizontal alignment, make it centered, and just clean up a little bit. Yeah, but the major takeaway here is that now you have the option to add quantities for all of the members of your family of assemblies. Some of the things that you'll see here is that, for example, you'll see a star sign here. So star sign means that the specific part is missing from the view. So in this case, you can see the specific handle is missing from the first default type open one member, but is available in the second and the fourth member right here. Now let's say, for example, if you want to remove the star sign from here, to do that, what you can do is you can go to the view wizard and bring or select a specific assembly that has this file. In this case, my assembly number 4, or the member number 4, has the handle O2, and what you can do is you can balloon those members. So when you go to balloon, inside this specific option, you have the option to either link to parts list or link to family of assemblies parts list. And in this case, I would like to turn on the balloon for item number and item count. Select that specific, let's say, for example, this part right here and the handle. Once you do that, you'll see there's a black box around this table. Once you right click and update, you'll see that the star sign next to my handle goes away, which means that this specific member is present inside this assembly right here, and it's twin balloon and linked to this family of assemblies parts list table. One other update is that now inside Solid Edge you have the option to link or say create the dimensions using virtual index. Now for that I'll have to bring up a part here. So from the view wizard I'll use this handle O2 part. And here I would like to show the left view. So from the view orientation, go to left view and place it right here. So back in the day, when you wanted to dimension a specific point which is intersecting two different lines, was not possible. But now inside Solid Edge you can do that using the distance between option. So you go to distance between option, select the start point, and then the process to turn on the virtual index is you bring your cursor on the first line, then the second line, back to the first line, and if you hover your cursor somewhere where you think your point might be, it snaps to that location and adds a dimension right here. So this is how you can add a virtual or add a dimension using the virtual indices. Now let's say, for example, if you would like to turn on the projection lines for this one. To do that, you'll have to go to the styles menu. Since this is an isometric standard, I'll select isometric, go to modify, and in modify, inside the lines and coordinate tab, I have this option which says projection lines to virtual intersection points. So now my display is set to none, but if I turn that to both, which means I would like to show both the intersection lines, hit OK and save it. So now from next time when I place a dimension, say for example from this point I would like to bring back, select my first virtual line, second virtual line, go back and select the intersection point right here. And once I place a dimension, you'll see that those intersection lines are also showing up now. So this is how you can place a dimension for virtual intersection points. Now let's say, for example, if you want to place a fractional style dimension, right? And since you know fractional style dimensions are not allowed in the style, so I'll have to change that to ANSI inch. And inside the advanced option, I have this primary linear option. So when I expand that, if you go all the way at the bottom, you can decide what fraction style do you want. I'll do 1/64, and my dimension style changes based on that. So the round off values have changed. But right now the view is kind of skewed. You cannot exactly know if it's 21/64 or 2 times 1/64. So to make it more clear, what you can do is you can simply right click and go to properties, and inside properties you have the option for units. Inside units you can decide the fractional display style. So right now it is set to linear. You can change that to stacked as shown from like an example here, and if you hit apply, you'll see that change being made in the active window right here, and this looks way more clear and concise as compared to the previous one. So you hit OK, and this is what the fractional style of dimension looks like. Next, what we have is an option to add watermarks. So to add watermarks, I'll have to turn on the background sheet. So I'll turn on the background sheets here. Go to the sheet that I'm using right now. I'm using an A2 sheet, and in the text drop down, I have the option to turn on watermark. So here I can go to properties and enter the text that I want. So in this case, I would just like to enter, say, watermark. Hit OK. And the text looks very small, so I can simply scale it from here, maybe do 10 times. And this is what my scale looks like, or my new watermark looks like. Now to change the orientation or colors and stuff like that, you can always change that. So what you'll have to do is select the background and then it turns pink, and once it turns pink, you can go to this edit definition properties, and in set properties you can change the angle. Let's say for example, if you want the angle, maybe the origin, how you want this text to be displayed, horizontal or vertical. In paragraph, you can change the font color. So in this case, I would like to change the font color to, let's say for example, light gray, and this is what it looks like. You can always pan and change the location of the watermark, so that when you go back to the original sheet, this is what your watermark looks like. Now instead of just having a blank text for watermark, what you can do is you can add like a property text. Let's say for example, if you would like to see the status of the file, whether it's released or available, that can be done from here as well. So what you'll do is you'll go back to your background sheet, and inside the background sheet you have this option called as edit definition or insert symbols or property text or character. So I'll say insert property text, and the specific text that I would like to see is the status of the file. So if you scroll down all the way at the bottom here, you have status text. So you can simply double tap to add that as a property text, hit OK, and this is what my new watermark looks like. So since I'm currently working on this sheet, it says available. Once you save it and release, it will say released, and depending upon the specific workflows that you have set, the different status text will be shown. So these are all the updates that were added in the recent version of Solid Edge. So that's it for today. Thank you all for attending the webinar and taking your time to learn about drafting. So I'm opening this round for any questions that you might have.